Look at where you are right now. Not where you want to be. Not where you wish you were. Where you are. Because this moment, this exact point in time, is not an accident. It's the result of every choice you've made, every habit you've repeated, every excuse you've accepted, and every standard you've tolerated. And in 2026, the question is simple. Are you going to keep living the same year over and over again? Or are you finally going to level up? You don't change your life by waiting for motivation. You don't transform your future by hoping things get easier. You change your life by deciding, right now, that you're going to get better, stronger, sharper, and more disciplined than you were yesterday. Not 100% better. Not overnight. Just 1% better. Every single day. Because 1% doesn't feel like much in the moment. It feels small. It feels slow. It feels almost invisible. But let me tell you something. 1% is dangerous. 1% is powerful. 1% is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. It's how confidence is built. It's how discipline is formed. It's how greatness is earned. This year is not about doing more. It's about becoming more. It's about showing up when you're tired, staying focused when you're distracted, and choosing growth when comfort is calling your name. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to push you. No one is coming to carry you. If 2026 is going to be different, it's because you decide to be different. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for the perfect version of yourself. Start with the version you are right now and make it 1% better today. Then do it again tomorrow and again the next day. Because when you stack small wins long enough, you don't just change your year, you change your life. Most people think transformation comes from big moments, massive decisions, or dramatic breakthroughs. But the truth is far less flashy and far more powerful. Real change is built quietly, in the smallest actions repeated every day. A single choice to wake up a little earlier. A decision to read instead of scroll. One workout when you feel tired. One honest conversation instead of avoiding the truth. These things look insignificant on their own, but they compound. And when something compounds, it grows faster than you can see at first. That's why so many people quit too early. They don't feel progress, so they assume nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, something is being built. Think about interest in a bank account. At first, the numbers barely move. But over time, that interest stacks on itself. The growth becomes undeniable. Your habits work the same way. Every small action is a deposit into the person you are becoming. When you choose discipline over comfort, you're investing in your future self. When you choose focus over distraction, you're shaping your identity. When you choose effort over excuses, you're training your mindset. And the beautiful part is, you don't need a perfect day to start. You just need one honest decision to do a little better than you did yesterday. The problem is, people want fast results without slow consistency. They want the body without the training, the confidence without the work, the success without the struggle. But life doesn't reward intensity for a week. It rewards commitment for years. That's why the 1% rule is so powerful. It removes the pressure of perfection. You don't have to overhaul your life today. You just have to improve it slightly. And when you do that every day, you become unstoppable without even realizing it. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you're building trust with yourself. And self-trust is everything. It's the foundation of confidence, discipline, and resilience. When you keep small promises to yourself, you start to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, you stop quitting when things get hard. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop waiting for permission. You become the kind of person who moves forward no matter what. Small daily actions don't just change your results. They change your identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying," and start saying, "This is who I am." You become someone who trains, someone who learns, someone who grows. And once your identity shifts, your behavior follows naturally. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary. Not through talent, not through luck, but through daily, consistent, intentional progress stacked over time until the old version of them no longer exists. Most people wait to feel motivated before they take action. They tell themselves they'll start when they feel inspired, when they feel ready, when the energy is right. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you wake up fired up, other days you wake up heavy, tired, distracted, or unsure. If your growth depends on how you feel, then your progress will always be inconsistent. That's why consistency is more powerful than motivation. Consistency doesn't care how you feel. It cares about what you do. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It's the decision to act even when the emotions aren't there. It's choosing to train when your body wants rest, to study when your mind wants entertainment, to focus when your phone is begging for attention. You don't need to be hyped to be consistent. You just need to be committed. And commitment is what separates people who talk about change from people who live it. The truth is, nobody feels motivated every day. Even the people you admire most have days when they don't want to show up. They get tired. They get bored. They get frustrated. The difference is they don't negotiate with those feelings. They've already decided who they are and what they do. When the alarm goes off, they move. When the work is hard, they stay. When progress is slow, they continue. Not because it's exciting, but because it's necessary. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum is dangerous in the best way. When you start stacking days of effort, something shifts inside you. You stop relying on hype and start trusting your habits. Your routine becomes your power. Your schedule becomes your weapon. You no longer wait for the right mood. You create the right results. And here's what most people don't realize. Consistency is what makes motivation unnecessary. When you show up every day, your actions start to change how you feel. You don't wait to feel good to work. You work, and then you feel good. You don't wait to feel confident to move forward. You move forward, and then confidence follows. Emotion starts to chase behavior instead of the other way around. This is how real transformation happens. Not in bursts of excitement, but in seasons of quiet, relentless effort. When nobody is watching. When nobody is clapping. When there's no reward except knowing you did what you said you would do. That's where character is built. That's where self-respect is earned. That's where the future version of you is forged one decision at a time, one disciplined action at a time, one consistent day at a time, until quitting is no longer an option and progress becomes your new normal. Most people spend their lives blaming circumstances, waiting for conditions to change, or hoping someone else will fix what they don't like about their situation. But growth doesn't start with the world changing. It starts with you taking responsibility for your life. The moment you stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror, everything shifts. Because personal responsibility is power. It means you accept that where you are right now is the result of your choices, your habits, your standards, and your actions. And if your choices built this version of your life, then your choices can build a better one. Self-discipline is what turns responsibility into results. It's the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. It's controlling your impulses, your time, your energy, and your focus. Without discipline, dreams stay fantasies. With discipline, goals become plans, and plans become reality. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about respect. It's about respecting your future more than your present comfort. Every time you say you're going to do something, and then you don't, you weaken your own word. You teach yourself that your promises don't matter. But every time you follow through, even on small things, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who can be trusted. And when you trust yourself, your confidence grows. You stop doubting. You stop hesitating. You stop waiting for permission. You move with purpose because you know you can rely on yourself. Responsibility also means owning your mistakes without excuses. Not blaming your past. Not blaming your parents. Not blaming your environment. Not blaming the system. Those things may have shaped you, but they don't get to control you. You decide what happens next. You decide how you respond. You decide what standards you live by. And when you take full ownership of your life, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the author of your story. Self-discipline is built in the small moments. It's built when you wake up on time instead of hitting snooze. When you finish what you start. When you do the work, even when nobody is watching. Those moments don't look heroic, but they are. Because they shape who you are. And who you are determines what you get. The world doesn't owe you anything. But you owe yourself everything. You owe yourself effort. You owe yourself honesty. You owe yourself growth. And when you combine responsibility with discipline, you become dangerous in the best way. You become someone who doesn't wait for luck, someone who doesn't depend on motivation, someone who creates their own progress through daily choices, daily standards, and daily actions until the old version of you fades away and the new version stands strong, focused, and unstoppable. Most people only perform when someone is watching. They work harder when there's an audience, when there's praise, when there's recognition. But real growth doesn't happen in front of crowds. It happens in silence. It happens in the moments nobody sees. The late nights, the early mornings, the quiet choices you make when there's no reward, no spotlight, no applause. Your future is built in those invisible hours. Who you are in private is who you really are. Not the version you show online. Not the version you show your friends. Not the version you perform for the world. The real you is revealed when no one is there to impress. When you could quit and no one would know. When you could slack off and no one would call you out. That's where character is formed. That's where standards are proven. That's where discipline becomes real. Every unseen decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. When you choose to study instead of scroll, you're voting for your future. When you train when nobody is watching, you're voting for strength. When you read, reflect, and work on yourself in silence, you're building a version of you that the world hasn't met yet. And when the world finally does meet that version, it looks like overnight success, but you know better. You know how many nights went into that moment. Most people want the rewards of hard work without the loneliness of it. They want the results without the isolation. But becoming great requires time alone with your thoughts, your fears, your doubts, and your discipline. It requires choosing growth over comfort again and again when nobody is forcing you to do it. That's how self-respect is built. That's how confidence becomes unshakable. When you work in silence, you stop needing validation. You stop waiting for approval. You stop depending on likes, comments, and compliments to feel worthy. Your pride comes from knowing you did what you said you would do. You start trusting yourself, and that trust changes how you walk, how you speak, how you show up in the world. The grind in private prepares you for the pressure in public. When challenges come, you don't fold because you've already trained in the dark. You've already faced discomfort alone. You've already proven to yourself that you don't quit when it gets hard. That's why some people panic under pressure and others rise. One group performed when it was easy. The other trained when it was lonely. So don't wait for applause to move. Don't wait for recognition to grow. Don't wait for permission to become better. Build your future when nobody is watching. Do the work in silence. Stack the days. Honor your standards. Because one day, the results will speak so loudly that you won't have to say a word, and the world will see what was built in the dark. Momentum is what happens when small actions stop feeling small and start pulling you forward. At first, growth feels heavy. Every step takes effort. Every habit feels forced. Every change feels uncomfortable. But when you keep going, something shifts. The work that once felt hard starts to feel normal. The discipline that once felt unnatural becomes part of who you are. That's when momentum is born. And once you have momentum, life stops feeling like a constant uphill battle and starts feeling like forward motion. Momentum is dangerous in the best way. It turns effort into energy. It turns struggle into strength. It turns doubt into confidence. When you stack enough days of showing up, your mind starts to expect progress. Your body starts to crave movement. Your identity starts to align with growth. You no longer ask, "Should I do this today?" You ask, "What's next?" That's when improvement becomes automatic instead of forced. The reason most people never experience momentum is because they quit before it arrives. They stop during the slow phase. They stop when results are invisible. They stop when it feels boring, lonely, or unrewarding. But the people who change their lives push through that phase. They stay consistent when nothing is happening on the outside, trusting that everything is changing on the inside. And it is. Your habits are rewiring your mind. Your discipline is shaping your identity. Your effort is creating a version of you that doesn't quit anymore. Momentum also changes how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone who tries. You start seeing yourself as someone who does, someone who finishes, someone who follows through. And that self-image is powerful because once you believe you're the kind of person who keeps moving forward, you stop negotiating with your old excuses. You stop listening to the voice that tells you to wait, delay, or give up. You move anyway. Every day you improve, just a little, you build speed. And with speed comes confidence. With confidence comes courage. With courage comes bigger goals. And suddenly, the life you once thought was impossible starts to feel within reach. Not because you got lucky, not because someone saved you, but because you stayed consistent long enough for momentum to take over. This is how 1% a day becomes unstoppable. It's not magic. It's math. It's the natural result of showing up when you don't feel like it, of choosing growth over comfort, of stacking small wins until they become a force. And once that force is moving, nothing can stop it but you. So don't slow down now. Don't doubt the process. Don't quit in the middle of a transformation. You're closer than you think. You're stronger than you know. And your future is already being built by what you do today. If this message pushed you forward even a little, do me a favor and show your support by hitting like, dropping a comment, and subscribing for more motivation every day.